Hell yeah, it is. Oh, sorry.
All right, everybody, welcome to week 19. We're in wildcard weekend.
It is wildcard weekend. Niners at Dallas Cowboys. Let's go, Jimmy. AT&T Stadium will be rocking. We are here. The Niner faithful is coming in. It's an invasion, and we are ready to roll.
Exactly. I got my red lipstick on for the game, for the show. So the flow of the show today. So me and George are on for the first part. It's just us two. We talk a little bit about mindset, get a little goofy. You'll see that. And then second part, it's the two of us plus Trinidad Garcia. And we're going to go ahead and read his bio right now so that you guys can hear this and just kind of roll into the show with us.
All right. So super excited. Trinidad is another MVP referred person. As you know, we've been partnering with those guys all year, merging vets and players. So, and he will talk and share all of that story. I'm just going to do this right now, and then we'll get into it with him and get on. So from a very early age, Trinidad Garcia III of Oxnard, California, had an eye for fashion. With shoes clean and clothes pressed in color coordinated, he headed out for elementary, then high school, and then even in college. And then in the mid-90s, he decided to create his own line of clothing, and his dream enterprise started out well, but then eventually sputtered and failed. He decided he needed more self-discipline, and to accomplish this, he would join the Marines. Okay, it's like what all of us do. Anyway, or would he? But when he went to enlist, they said, "You're too old, Garcia. Our maximum age for enlistment is 27. You're 31. Go get a real job." But he didn't want a job. He wanted to become a Marine. So his recruiter out in California, Sergeant Luke, decided to see if there was any way that they might be able to get him in. Luke learned that the recruiting numbers in parts of the country back east were way down, and if Garcia would apply through one of those venues, they might waive the age limit rule. Contacted Franklin, Tennessee, and it turned out to be just the place. They took him, and he joined, and several hundred men filed in for boot camp in September of 2008, and Garcia, he was there, and he says, the oldest by far. He became a machine gunner, spending time in 29 Palms, California, Okinawa, Japan, and on two military vessels, the USS Essex, and the USS Harper Ferry. After his first tour of duty, he reenlisted, and then after his second tour, he considered staying in for the long haul, but the design bug had bit him once again. He applied to and was accepted at the prestigious Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, that's right, Fashion Institute, in Los Angeles. While a student there, Garcia found purpose and a mission to empower veterans. He served as president of the student chapter at the school and was instrumental in opening the fashion school first veteran center, so bringing veterans in for fashion. Also, while a student, he established Trinidad III Jeans, which is his current company. He's most proud of the jeans he designed for U.S. Marine Corps veteran amputee Corporal Hosu Barron, who lost his left leg and his left eye in Afghanistan. This jean won a Rivet Award Best Showpiece 220 at the Project Show in Las Vegas. He's very active in the veteran community. He advocates, participates, and donates to veteran organizations such as Merging Vets and Players, Save the Braid, and Sarge's Resource Center. While he works at building his jean company, he works on training warfighters at U.S. Naval Base Point Mugu, California. And I'm going to tell a little bit more about that when we get into the show because he took me a couple places when I was in San Diego. So I think without any further ado, we're going to jump into that. Hope you really enjoy the show. Emma and George, enlightening and entertaining as always. All right. Lou, we good? Bam!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first round of the playoffs. We've got our beautiful little nugget burrito, love bunches of joy, my baby brother. Look how cute his hair looks.
Thank you. I actually just twisted it and folded it.
Oh, I thought you had like a little pin in it. Could you put a chopstick through it?
Maybe one of these days. I'll do it at some point.
It's beautiful. Thank you. All right, guys. So we just wanted to keep it short and sweet tonight because obviously a lot of the boys are very sleepy and very tired from all the work that they have been putting in. It's been a long season and we're just getting started on this next mountain, this next summit that we're climbing towards the Super Bowl. Okay. So brother, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you. I didn't get to hug you after the game, but blew you lots of kisses. How are you feeling?
Wonderful. I'm playing an extra week of football. At this time last year, I was on vacation.
with Trent Taylor and his wife and my wife. And while I do love vacation, I would much rather be playing playoff football. And Trent's also playing playoff football with Bengals. We were in Utah, but I was going to Cabo.
Oh, that was the year before. I got you.
Yeah. Oh, no, I go to Cabo every year though. You might find me there.
Say that again.
Cabo. I was in Utah, and then we went to Cabo directly afterwards. And every year I go to Cabo, so you might find me there at some point.
We love Cabo.
So yeah, playing football is way more fun than going on vacation, and it's pretty sick that we get to be on the road for all the games too, because we do pretty well on the road.
We do, and the Niner fans travel incredibly well. So if you guys didn't know,
they do. They're the best.
The best. Niner fans are supposed to be wearing red so that we can have a sea of red in the Cowboys Stadium. So if you're going, if you have friends going, make sure to remind everybody to wear red. Claire and I planned out our outfits tonight. We look pretty awesome.
I'll wear red too then to the game. I'll find something red to wear.
Okay. Could also wear those new t-shirts that I got you.
You got me t-shirts?
Did Claire not give you the present? I got you some presents from last week. I know you've been.
Oh, yeah, those are cool. Those are cool.
Right? Aren't those sick? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so since BK is not on the podcast and we don't have the normal kind of script laid out, so George and I, obviously, yoga and meditation are huge in my world. And what I wanted to do was take a little deep dive into it, as in there's been a lot of videos of you meditating and doing breath work on the sidelines before you actually suit up, before you go out. And so I wanted to just, this is a big time. I mean, people send me videos of you just sitting there breathing. It's so great. But obviously this is a really big, important time. So how are you managing your mindset? And maybe could you talk a little bit about what your mindset is before? Well, let's start with that. How are you managing your mindset? How's your mind, buddy?
You asked me a lot of questions there, Em.
I know. We'll start with, how's your mindset, brother?
I'm doing really well. Mindset has a big part of, body and mind go together. So when the body's feeling good, your mindset can be a little bit better. It just elevates it naturally. So that's been helpful for me this week. Feeling nice, ready. And like I said, playoff football kind of changes your mindset too. You have one shot every single weekend, and if you don't win, you're done already. So we're going to do everything we can to win that. So mindset's pretty locked in right now. But yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of breath work, and it's kind of something, whether it's I've seen other players do it. My buddy Bob Tunyon does it. My family always talks to me about breathing, but just taking a second, sitting on the bench and just breathing the stadium in. Breathing in the moment. There's a lot of distractions that we go through every single day of our lives. There's a lot of things that can take your mind off of just, that exact moment in time where you only get to live it once. And so don't be distracted during it, and take it all in and then perform at your best level. So it's a great memory. So just taking the time to breathe and go into that meditative state for just a little bit, not very long. And then just kind of sets the tone for the rest of my warm up and usually the game.
Thanks for sharing all that. So when you do, when you're sitting on the sideline, what breath do you like to do?
I usually do 4 in, 4 out, or I might hold it for a block of 4 in the middle and do a block chain. And I do that once in a while. And then just kind of talk to myself, positive reinforcement, my goals for the day, what I need to be me, and to try to be great that day. So I won't give you all my details because they're mine, but that's kind of how it works for me.
Are they different from game to game, with your different assignments, or are they kind of do you have an overarching theme for the season?
It's pretty similar the entire time. It's almost the same weekly.
Hey,
Here's your
sorry.
Brother-in-law Riley.
Hey, gang. I'm gonna
Okay. 3, 2, 1, action. And we're back.
We had a little brother-in-law intro to the house, banging on the front door.
He's fired. Well then, Emma, what were we chatting about, my sister?
We were talking about just how overall wise you are, and just the universal downloads that come in as you sit on the sideline and breathe, and you're like, I am wise.
Just surround yourself with good vibes and breathe in good vibes and exhale bad vibes. Breathe in strength, exhale weakness, that type
Breathe
of
in
stuff.
fear, exhale. Breathe in faith, exhale fear. That's what I like to say.
Don't
Inhale faith,
breathe in.
exhale fear. Okay. Anyway, so any other thing around mindset that you want to say?
Me personally, I mean, I can go off on a tangent if you really want me to.
Let's go.
That's going to cost you extra. No, not really. Just, like I said, surround yourself with good people, good vibes, make your life a lot better, make your life a lot more fun. And then when you're dealing with stuff, you have good people to lean on when you need the help. So surround yourself with good people. And if there are bad people in your life, you know it. And if just cut them out or move on, make better friends. We all have to evolve at some point.
Friends are like elevators, right? Give us a spiel.
Friends are like elevators. They're taking you up or they're bringing you down. Guaranteed.
Never staying the same. That's the crazy thing, right? We always think that we're just like, some people just think that they're like hanging out, but you're really never just hanging out. You're always either going further, you're either going closer to your goals or farther away from them every day, every moment.
Goes by fast. I'm in week 19 of an NFL football season. Feels like the season just started. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. Okay. So I thought the next thing that we could talk about is some memories from Dallas. So I went to school at OU. Bruce was a football coach there for a little while. So we had some trips down to Dallas. George, what are your memories of Dallas?
I went to a Lights All Night concert with my sister.
I took George to his first music festival. We did Lights All Nights. We saw Nervo. So at this point, George is like,
I was 19.
You were not scrawny, but like you were not in the body that you
I was 200 pounds. I was 208 pounds. This was right after my freshman season in Iowa. I redshirted, did the whole college experience. We didn't go to a bowl game, so we got to leave on Christmas break. That's a whole nother story. That was those weeks between our last game versus Nebraska, which we lost. You won't hear me say that very often. So Will Compton, if you ever hear this, I love you. That was actually Will's like junior, senior year, I'm pretty sure. Really? But anyways, yeah, it was. But I didn't play. I redshirted, but I was on the sideline. But between that and then Christmas break, it was like 2.5 weeks or something like that. And we got put through the workout ringer. That was a fun 2 weeks. Not at all. Anyways, all right. So after that, I get to go home early. Only Christmas, I think I got to stay at home. Really, yeah, in football. And Emma takes me to a concert in Dallas because we're playing.
And home was Norman at this time. Home was Norman.
Yeah, we're in Norman, Oklahoma. So I came home for college. Can't remember. Yeah, they were in the Cotton Bowl versus Texas A&M. And Oklahoma was. And so we went to Lights All Night, saw Nervo, saw A-Track. Pretty sure we saw Calvin Harris. Yeah, that's who was there. He was the main eventer, was Calvin Harris.
Was it really?
Yes. That's why, because it was like his new album had come out. I feel so close to you right now.
It's a force field. Okay, so, but with that.
That's who we went to see. Nervo opened for him.
So I was like obsessed with Nervo, like wanted to be Nervo, even though I don't have a twin sister. But now I have Claire. So our ambition is to be a DJ at a Niners game. So I'm just going to put that out into the universe. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so I take George to the show and I'm like fangirling so hard. And George is so tall at this point, like just standing so high above the crowd. And he's like literally waving at them and they're like waving right back at him. And I'm just like,
Nervo. It was amazing.
It was awesome.
We somehow pushed our way to like the fourth row and everyone around me was 5'7". It was insane. Like I was huge. I'm like 6'2", 6'3" max. I did hit a 2-inch growth spurt in college, so that was helpful. But at that point I was probably like 6'2", and I'm waving at Nervo and I'm like, it's like right after a song, there's like a lull and I just scream, I love you, Nervo. And they looked at me and they pointed at me and they go, we love you, tall guy.
I was like, yeah, I was
awesome.
so proud.
Yeah, that was a highlight of my weekend. It was pretty fun.
Oh my God. I wish Ooh, I don't know if we'll share any photos from that night, but we were just dressed like idiots, but I put George in like the weirdest shirt. It was a weird shirt.
Anyways,
It looked like
other memories in Dallas. We can skip
other memories in Dallas were
I trained there for my combine pre-draft.
You did?
Yeah, that's where I met Trent Taylor, Rob Tunyon, Ryan Switzer, all the boys, Aviante Collins, Roper, who took me. Hey, this is a wild fact. I was it was 2017 January, and one of Claire's best friends from college lived in Dallas, still does. And she was a diehard Packers fan. Well, Green Bay came to Dallas, and I want to say a wild card game in 2017. And we got tickets for it, courtesy of Roper. And we sat at the very top of the stadium, like you could touch the ceiling of Jerry Jones World. And we watched Aaron Rodgers come back and hit that sideline pass and then kick the field goal to win the game. It was like the classic, like you left Aaron Rodgers too much time thing. I lived through that moment, and we had seats in the end zone where they were coming at to kick the game winning field goal. It was really sick. It was wild. It was an absolutely insane game, but yeah, no. So I was there for that. I think that was Dak's rookie year too. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's awesome. The other thing that happened there was Bruce coached through what football game? It was some conference championship. And I think we lost.
Game. Oklahoma versus Nebraska. We won. We whooped.
Oh, what was the one where it was the worst?
Texas A&M was a AT&T Cotton Bowl.
Not that one either.
Bruce has never lost when he was at Oklahoma. They won they won every game. They didn't lose.
I feel like there was one where we played like a team called the Huskies or something.
It was the Huskers, Nebraska Corn Huskers.
No, they weren't red. They were blue. They were like no. I'll go back and find photos. Either way, many games.
What are you talking about?
I'm like 99% sure, but I don't know. I took my friend. Either way, it was the first time I met Toby Keith because he was like a huge OU fan, and he would just like burst out into song. And it was right when his song Red Solo Cup was coming out. So it was like he would just start singing it all the time everywhere. And his voice is incredible. I just remember him being like larger than life. It was awesome. That was like the first like celebrity moment for me around football. I mean, besides the actual players. Interesting. And our fabulous late grandmother, Phyllis, hated the Cowboys. Like, we had no reason to hate the Cowboys. Phyllis hated the Cowboys with a passion. Like, I don't remember anything besides.
I don't even know why.
We don't know why. We never understood. And she was just like, she was not a hateful person.
No, she was spicy, but like she loved me and Emma. Loved anything we ever needed. Loved us. Took care of us.
Oh,
but if there was football on TV and the Cowboys were playing, she would either change it or turn it off, or she would only watch it if the Cowboys were losing. Yeah. It was insane.
So grandma's probably like not rolling over in her grave because she's cremated, but she's mixing shit up.
Oh no, she's up there like loudest cheerer I've ever heard right now. She's just going off. She's like, George, I swear, you better get this done.
That about makes me want to cry. Oh, could you imagine?
Grandma Phyllis, we got you.
Grandma Phyllis. All right, so watch out, Cowboys, because you got a dead grandma coming at you too.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Emma Kittle, my sister, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey. Okay, and George, any fashion things that you want to? Do you think?
Fuck yeah. Sorry. Well, we're gonna rewind and bleep that out. Yes, ma'am. I would love to show you guys something. This is actually awesome. I wore these last week in LA. Real quick backstory on them. I had no business getting these. The store Fix Kicks in San Jose hooked me up with these for my birthday. Huge fans, absolutely love them. They're incredible. They hooked me up with these Jordan 1s, black and white. They're like from the commemorative, like 23 edition. They came out with 2 shoes, in 2008, brand new, never before worn. And it came out in 2008, and they gave it to me like 2 months ago for my birthday. So that was pretty special. So shout out to those guys at the Fix Kicks. They rock. You guys are awesome. And I can't wait to see you guys again soon.
Yeah. If you guys ever need some shoes, you can order online. They have a bunch of different merchandise that you can get. Obviously, the shoes are fire. George has gotten me some cool players from there. So
I've gotten a lot of cool stuff from them. They are awesome, and they're local, and they're good people.
Good people. We love it. All right, brother. Well, let's keep it short and sweet because you need your beauty sleep.
Absolutely.
So.
Oh, sorry. We're not done yet. Ooh, I got you.
You got me so good. You got me so good. All right, Bubby. Well, say a little something to the fans. Just.
I will. 1 second. I got one more thing for you.
What's on your hoodie?
It's heavy weights. It's 2 weights. It's
Oh.
Nike. I do have one more fashion preview thing. I got to give a shout out, and it's also part of this hat that I'm wearing. Peg City Gaming. Found them on Instagram. They hooked me and a handful of Niners. My custom little case. Put this up with these really cool custom Game Boy colors. Super sick. Niner edition. Even cooler. Says the people's tight end on the back. Very awesome. Game has my number on it. Side note, Game has every Game Boy Color game like ever made on it. So I have like 400 or 500 games on this one game. Almost done with Pokemon Crystal. And me and Dweller are both playing the heck out of it right now. But almost done with Pokemon Crystal. And what else? When I'm about to evolve my Pupitar into a Tyranitar, which is sick at level 55. So wish me luck, guys. Hope I get that done playing after I study, of course, but I will play for a couple hours. But wanted to give them a shout out too, because that's part of my fashion segment, because glory days were sick. High school is sick, bro.
The first thing that I ever remember saving up my money for was a Game Boy. Like it was like the translucent purple thing, the purple one.
Yeah, the translucent purple Game Boy Color. And let's see, me and Emma was back in the day a Pokemon master. We used to collect cards.
We still have them. I know where they are.
I know you do, but when you got through the phase of Pokemon, because like you were a girl and you had to be like into cooler things.
I know in high school I got like I stepped away from my essence. I tried. We'll say middle school. But yeah. Anyways, I stayed on the Pokemon grind hard, and when she grew out of it, I kept all of her cards. I moved them all from her binder. I took all of her good ones, took them out of her binder, put them in my binder, of course. But when she did do the Pokemon, she played silver, and I was and I was gold, and we had some good competitions. She was pretty good at the game. I mean, I did a little deep dive into Pokemon Go this past year, and
you did.
I was real obsessed with it. Like Claire would get really pissed at me. We'd be traveling together, and she'd be like, "You better not be playing Pokemon Go. Like, you better not be." And I was, and we were like in Italy doing stuff. Yeah, I was. So I had to.
Emma was actually brutal. I remember we did something just for the day, and she was literally just on her phone looking at Pokemon Go, and I was like, "You got to stop it." Like,
I had to stop. I can't take it. Like I love it, but I have some really great photos of us playing Pokemon Go. So, oh, Dave, happy birthday!
Thank you, Emma.
Chef Dave's birthday, everybody.
It's on here.
Everybody wish him happy birthday. Holy cow, this looks incredible.
Pour him on here.
Spinach puree on the bottom with baby broccolini, brother.
Wait, Dave, get on the mic. Tell him what you made.
Dave,
Sir,
can you come here real quick? Will you tell the good people what you made?
Steak frites that we got from Peter Luger, and then I did a spinach mashed potatoes and French fries. It's a play on a classic dish, steak frites.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Wow.
Y'all,
all right, well,
nutrition
I'm out of time now. My attention is drawn elsewhere. My attention is drawn elsewhere. I have to go.
George has to go eat. All right, Niner fans, stick around because next up we have Trinidad on with Bruce.
People out there.
What'd you say?
And Niners fans, for those that do listen, one, thank you. I hope you're having a wonderful year. But two, if you were at the LA game against the Rams this past week, thank you. You guys are awesome. It was a sea of red, and it felt like a home game. It was awesome. You guys rock. Love you guys so much. I hope to see you all times 2 in Dallas. You guys have a wonderful evening. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
And happy birthday, Chef Dave.
I'll see ya.
Love you.
Action. Oh.
We'll go 3, 2, 1. Action. Okay.
Perfect.
Woo!
Next part of our podcast.
All right, we're in part 2 now. So here we are rolling. So Trinidad, great to see you again. I just flew to Dallas actually from San Diego, and we had the chance Wednesday afternoon, spent that together, and it was really fun. So I thought it was just going to be kind of like, I'm going to, be able to go. So Trinidad works for a company, and you can, pump that if you want to. But anyway, and they basically it's like a big video game. And so they train Marines and Navy and everybody down there on basically kind of weapons operations and how to do them and all that kind of stuff. And so moving targets and all those kind of things. And it's all hooked up. So anyway, I didn't know I was going to be shooting, but we went to the first place. So we actually went to the Buds Navy SEAL training facility, and that was pretty cool. So, and we pulled in as we did, the beach was right there, and 2x2 group of guys going out over the beach, I don't know, carrying logs or whatever. So I was like, okay, this is really it. Anyway, we wove around and got me in, and we met Dave, and I didn't catch his last name, but Dave has been there for about 10 years. And so got me all stringed up and had to load and unload and safety and all that kind of stuff, taught me how to stand and hold an M4 automatic weapon. And so then I shot away. So we did some stills, and then we did some movement stuff, and I tried not to kill non-combatants and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, Emma will post maybe a picture of that. But anyway, I got some shots. That was pretty cool. Then we went and hit a 240 machine gun, which that's a beast. So just if anybody, and I can't imagine what a 50 cal would be like. So anyway, so we got to shoot some stuff. So that was pretty good. The best part of it was, though, we had some time to be in the car together and kind of get to know each other. And really, I got to just to hear his story and his mission, which we're going to make sure we cover. And then we had a great meal. Was it Cloak and Petals?
Cloak and Petal.
Yeah, Cloak and Petals in Little Italy. And why there's a Little Italy in San Diego, I don't know, but there is. And so
in San Jose also.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. There's just like little Italian people everywhere. Okay. Anyway, it was really fun. So we're very excited. So we had a great time, and we'll bring some of that stuff back in as we get going. Well, then Trinidad, so in your bio, you kind of talk about that transition and, for a lot of different.
So welcome to the show.
Oh, sorry.
Yay.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Now we're good. Okay. All right. So, well, then, so folks kind of heard a little bit about that transition. Your first business, took off okay, and then didn't quite get there. And you had some other life events and that kind of stuff. So 31, and we read about Franklin and getting in and all that kind of stuff. So, maybe just talk to us about, that getting in, and then kind of a little bit about your experience while you're in the Marines there. So you did 8 years. Is that right? Is it?
Yes, I did 8 years.
Okay.
2008 to 2016.
But so my question on this is so in your bio, it says, I just knew that I needed more discipline, so I'm going to go be a Marine. Like, was there any in-between step that you were thinking about, or was it just like full tilt?
Well, it was full tilt initially because I felt that maybe my shortcomings in business and in my career was because I wasn't disciplined. I found out in boot camp that it wasn't the case. I was very well disciplined and I was meritoriously promoted, 3 times in my career. So it wasn't the discipline. When I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I signed a 4-year deal. It wasn't that. So,
dude, that's what I would say. Like, some people buy a self-help book on.
Yeah, or like go to a seminar, right. like take business courses.
What am I going to, I just joined the Marines. Yeah, what the hell?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was a child in the 80s, my dad's a Vietnam veteran, and he brought home a movie called, Full Metal Jacket. Great movie. And for some reason, I was just mesmerized by that movie and the boot camp and everything. And And I had it inside me that one day, if I didn't achieve what I wanted to do, that I would join the military and restart my life. And the Marines had always been there. I just postponed it quite a bit. And I was 31 years old, so I had lost everything. And I turned to the Marines, and I felt it was discipline, but it wasn't it. But the best part about it was it really helped mold me and shape me a little bit further along as to what I'm doing now. Help me find purpose. It stripped me, and although I felt was disciplined, I did up my discipline a little bit. The Marine Corps is no walk in the park, and so it really helped me launch this next part of my journey. And when I was talking to the recruiter, I saw that there was the fashion school, one of the approved military schools. So I asked him, I said, "Hey, so you're telling me if I become a Marine Corps infantryman, I can go to fashion school?" And he said, "Well, I don't know why you would do that, but it's in the book." Yes. And I asked several times because before I joined, I used to be a screen printer. And since I was a child, it was my dream to be a designer. So when I was in 7th, 8th grade, I took sewing, and my dad pulled me out. In high school, I took sewing 3 times. My dad showed up, my counselor pulled me out of sewing. And finally, when I was, and we'll get into the transition part, but when I was going to fashion school, I was in sewing, and I called my dad, and I'm like, hey, sir, I'm here in sewing class, and you cannot pull me out.
Get me out, man.
Yeah. So I utilized the GI Bill, and went that route.
All right. Well, super cool. All right. So we're in. So you went through Franklin. They waived the age requirements. So you're getting in. And I know a lot of this is, the rest of the story is, there's a lot there, but any kind of highlights or lessons or things that you think are important and that you want to share as far as kind of your 8 years in, or at least I think to the 6th point, because when we talked the other day, you were kind of talking about, as you started seeing the end of your second tour, you had some things kind of pop up for you. So, but kind of up until that point, are there any highlights or anything, lessons or other things you want to share as far as just so people understand kind of your experience while you're in the Marines?
Absolutely. For one, I was 31 years old, and I was told I'd never be a Marine. And the Navy chief, he actually went to high school with them, and he said, "Hey, you're wasting your time. You're over the age limit." But I was a personal trainer. I was in great shape. I was like an old Mustang that never got driven. So, whooped the old Mustang out, and whew, I outran everybody but one kid in my platoon. There was 81 of us in the platoon, and he ended up going to first recon. He outran me by 10 seconds. So anyhow, so what I really learned was that to not give up and chase your dream. So to become a Marine, I was very persistent. I had to do MEPS out here. I got screened out here in the West Coast, and then they said there was an opportunity for age waivers on the East Coast because they weren't doing them here in California or anything on the West. So I bought a one-way ticket, went out to Tennessee, Nashville, and kept pushing. And when I was there, we were waiting for the approval to come through. It was already like 4:30, almost 5 in the afternoon. And, the gunny there said, "Hey, I don't think, you're going to be able to get in." So I went over to the Navy and was talking to them, and I heard my name. And he said, "Garcia, get back over here." I say it nicely. And he said, "Yeah, your age waiver got approved." So I was like, "Man, that's awesome." And next step was like, okay, how am I going to get back home? Because they weren't taking people. So I got in, and it taught me to not give up. So at that point, I knew that, I had a dream of becoming a Marine. And even though everybody said it was impossible because of my age, I found a way, and I kept pushing. And that dream came true.
Yeah. Well, great lessons too, because, one is that you had such a clear vision for it. You know what I mean? You had a real clear identity and what you wanted to do and how doing it, and then just stuck with it. And, the persistence certainly pays off. So with the clear vision and kind of consistent action, a lot of things can happen in your favor. So, okay. So now you get in, you go do boot camp and all that kind of stuff. Are there parts of, that next period, while you're in the Marines that you want to share with folks that you think is important?
I think like while you're in there, you get the opportunity to think. I was older, so I was already thinking what I was going to do after the Marine Corps. And when I was on ship is when I got caught doodling. So I had a laptop and I was drawing on my laptop, designing T-shirts and things that I was being inspired by while I was on ship. And platoon sergeant comes in and I slam my laptop, he made me open it up. At that point, he said it was really good work. And next thing you know, I designed a plaque for the company commander, platoon T-shirts. There's a plaque I designed that's still over in the officers club over in Okinawa, Japan. So along that journey, as I was serving, I was learning that I had time to really like focus and start planning the next phase of my life. So when it was time to re-enlist, I called my brother, and that was in 2011. And I said, "Hey, how's it looking out there? How's the economy?" And he said, "You better just stay in another 4." So I did. And then I got orders to come do what's called I&I duty. So I was at a reserve station in Los Angeles. And at that point, they allowed me to go to school. They put me on every weekend duty. And when I told them what school I wanted to go to, they flipped. They're like, I told them, I want to go to fashion school. And they said, "Why? Like, what's wrong with you? Or what's going on?" And then I explained my story, and I showed them a portfolio, and then it made sense to them. So they gave me a chance of a lifetime, because in the infantry, you don't really get much chance to go to school. And there, on that duty, that opportunity, and took it of it.
Okay, let's just quick time out. Sorry, Trinidad, you're breaking up just a little bit on us, and I don't want to lose. I think we're okay, but
Yeah, will you talk a little bit more?
Sure. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Now it's good.
sounds good.
Yeah, now it's good.
Yeah, it was just breaking up. It sounded like the signal was a little bit, but I don't know. So maybe we just had a bad. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. So we'll
Okay.
just jump back in then. Emma will have to clean it
Sure.
up. I just wanted to.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So you're into fashion school and you're working on that. And so when you got into fashion school, how many years left did you have in that second contract?
Going to school, I had to really, again, think about what I wanted to do. And I was interviewing with companies, and just really didn't feel like I fit in with a lot of the fashion brands and companies. I'm coming from the Marine Corps and then diving just into civilian life. So it was really good that I had that opportunity to be there at fashion school. And I was the president of the Student Veterans Club for the SVA there at Untitled Chapter. And I was doing events, and we were doing a lot of community outreach. We ended up getting Chapter of the Month out of 2,000 schools. And that's how the colonel found out that I was going to fashion school, because it was on the news. And, I kind of skylined myself. I got 2 letters of appreciation from 2 state senators and the mayor of Los Angeles. And the first sergeant was just like, "Damn it, Garcia, like, we can't hide this anymore." Because
the sergeant you guys were kind of hiding it from Big Brass, right?
Right. We were hiding it from the brass at the time.
Yeah, they were making some scheduling accommodations so you could go to school and still kind of cover your deal. But if you wouldn't have had
I would have to get pulled out of school a lot, because our main duty was funeral honors. So honoring and I did over.
Wait, hold on. So our audio's cutting again. I don't know if it's.
Are you hearing us okay? I think ours is good. I haven't had any problems with it.
Yeah.
There you are again.
Is yours glitchy now, or like, are we glitchy on your end?
You were glitchy. I'm here. I'm checking my Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'm on full bars on my home Wi-Fi.
So
yeah, you were great until just like the last couple times. It's just kind of crackly in your voice a little bit. It's like it's cutting in and out a little bit. So one of us is. I don't know.
Should we get on our hotspot?
Let me see here. You're clear now.
Okay. Well, we'll keep trying and see what happens. So
okay, if it happens again, we'll rearrange.
Okay. But so the thing that cut out when you were saying like how many funerals you guys were doing.
Okay. So on that break. Now I'm back. All right. So on that duty, our main duty was to honor the fallen. So I did over 200 funeral honors, veterans, all the way up to there was a Marine that was killed in Iraq, and so we did an honor, plain sight honors for him. Excuse me, it's a little hard to talk about, but I had to pick up his mom and take him over there, and it was a duty that was it was difficult. I never imagined myself doing that when I joined the Marine Corps, but extremely honorable. And in that it segues into a lot of my design aesthetic that you'll see as you look at the collection, where every piece that I do has a little piece of red on it, and it's to honor the fallen and honor all those that shed blood for us. So I continue that all the way through. And while I was there, president of that club, I jokingly would say that if I was doing my job right, that I would have a place to transition when I got out of active duty. And when I got out of active duty, I thought I had everything set up, and I hit a wall. I failed 3 quarters in a row. I was about to kicked out of fashion school. Luckily, the vice president of education, her husband was a Navy veteran, and the director of menswear, her husband was a Vietnam veteran in the Marine Corps. So they understood what I was going through, and they remembered what their spouses went through in their transition. So I was spared. They gave me, an alibi. They worked with me. And when I was talking to my therapist through the VA, she said that every time I talked about denim or I talked about fashion, that I would come to life. So she told me with denim to always carry a piece. And if I had anxiety, anything going, to just hold on to that. And she said, never let it go. Never let it go. And so that just reaffirmed my childhood passion, dream, and also through service there to others, which is what I'm most proud of. But all of that I learned as a student through the journey and through some of my darkest times. It was the arts, it was fashion, it was what I was passionate about, and more importantly, the impact that I was having with the other veterans. And when I graduated, we opened up I opened up a veteran center there. So Ms. Holberg, the founder of the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising Los Angeles, bought me a big old leather recliner. And now all the veterans to this day have a place to go and use my recliner, decompress, because I had hiding spots throughout the school that when I would get my anxiety, panic attacks, I would leave class, and in certain areas of outside the stairs, I would just try to decompress and gather my thoughts. Now, again, I was pretty fortunate that the head security guard was an retired Air Force veteran. So security would go out. Of course, if they see somebody going to parts of the school, they would go and tell them to come back. But they were watching me on the camera, and he said, "Hey, he'll be all right. Just keep an eye on him." And finally, when I had the Veteran Center, I got an opportunity to take advantage of it the last 2 months I was there. And it was awesome, and not only was it great for me, but to know that I made an impact. And I just talked to the director of student veteran services from FITM, and she said that I left a legacy there. My uniforms there.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah. And more veterans in fashion are utilizing the space, and throughout the transition, they have a place to go to when they're having a hard time in community. And I remember there was a gal, she was a Marine, and didn't understand what she was going through because I was on active duty, and I was, trying to be a bit of a hard ass with her. And when I was in the elevator going through, I was shaking, literally like shaking. I just wanted to run, get the hell out of there. And she happened to walk in, and she put her hand on my shoulder and told me, "It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right." And that's when I knew, like, my purpose and what I am here to do and want to do was solid, because she was able to further her transition because of the work that I had done. And when I needed that help, she was there. So.
And so I just want to ask you though, when we talked, so you were in school. How long were you in school before you actually discharged?
So I did actually went to the school for a total of 4 years.
Okay.
So I earned 3 degrees throughout those 4 years. And
were you
while I was on
all of it?
I was no.
Okay.
No, I got out in 2016, early 2016, and then I did my last degree in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
How old were you when you graduated?
From FITM, I was 39. Yeah.
Okay. So
39.
I guess, you were talking about having anxiety when you're at the school and that. And so,
right.
And when you and I were together, you were kind of talking about like you got into the school and then you see the Marine Corps life ending and that you started to experience, and I don't want to put words, but there was this kind of anxiety. I don't know if it was depression and all that kind of stuff. And so, and I wondered, and again, just whatever you want to talk about, but I mean,
right.
Was it just nerves about getting out, not having the Marines? Was it trying to start a business? Was it, did you ever kind of get a handle on what was it that was driving that?
I think it was loss of identity for a long time. 8 years, I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. Like I would step in, anywhere I would step, even officers would be like, "Good morning, Sergeant." My junior Marines, "Good morning, Sergeant." Like I was somebody. And then all of a sudden I was nobody in my eyes, right. And I just felt way out of place. I mean, it just hit me like with a ton of bricks, and I just didn't feel like I was even, human at the time. I was trying to figure out like what the purpose was. Like, what was all this about? How did I end up here? Why am I like this? Because I didn't see this coming at all. And so when I was in those dark points, I was trying to figure it out, and I couldn't, and I was spiraling. So the only thing that I was able to figure out were techniques to get me out of that mindset, and grounding techniques.
Can you share?
So I would, yes. So, I mean, it was as simple as just curling my toes and feeling the floor and just saying, this is the floor. It may sound silly. It would work. And the other thing was I always carried a piece of denim with me.
All right, talk to us again. All right, you're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about all this.
No, we cut out. You were talking about carrying the piece of denim with you all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a technique was carrying the piece of denim with me at all times. And anytime I felt anxiety or I was starting to, what I was told was disassociating, I would grab the piece of denim and I would rub it. And then at that point, just the texture of the fabric would get me thinking of, just get me out of that mindset and would ground me. So something as simple as knowing where the floor is at. And I would do that a lot.
Right.
So I mean, it sounds like you had a actually pretty good experience with your therapist as you came out or like kind of transitioned out, which is a little different story than what we've heard from other people that we've had on the show.
Right. Yeah. My therapist was, she paid for a lot of her own training and outside the VA, and had other holistic methods of working with mental health and other techniques that's different that the VA as a whole wasn't providing to everybody. So again, I was pretty fortunate, pretty blessed to be able to come across her. And it literally, like I would go like everything, like just a great human being that got me through the darkest points, because like in the VA, they medicate you, and I found myself like turning into a zombie and I ended up just stopping all meds cold turkey. I was getting seizures. I collapsed in front of my kids, and I just knew that wasn't the way. That wasn't sustainable. There was a way in, and I just knew there was no way out of that. So I broke that and found other ways to engage my mind and And really it was, in the Marines, we're ingrained, you take care of the Marines to your left and right. And I found a way to do that at fashion school through the club. And as I started my company, I would, hire veterans and again, like that's my mission, is to hire veterans.
Right. So a bunch of stuff in there. I just want to just kind of summarize and highlight just a little bit. So I think the loss of identity, though, is a common theme that we've heard from guys and women as they're talking about transitioning out of the military, just because it's such a strong sense of kind of community, collegiality, and the rules are clear. Your role is really clear. You know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. And there's some obviously very difficult things that people have to do and be a part of at times. But at the same time, it's very enriching. And I think for a lot of people, it really satisfies this notion of mission, giving back to things that are bigger than yourself and all that kind of stuff, even if, the Marine to your left and right and all those kind of things. So, and I guess I'm highlighting, because we focus this whole season with MVPs and veterans and just thinking of, that transition so people kind of understand, that notion. You and I talked a lot about what I call the talesman, or some kind of, activation thing to kind of help pull us back into that. So you use the denim. Some people use a coin. You could have a whole bunch of different kind of things.
I have crystals.
Yeah. Emma's a big.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but it's
I have one.
But that notion though, when your mind, your thoughts and emotions start to carry you away and like, oh, I'm in a tsunami here, and so finding something though, like you can throw an anchor down, like even like the feet, into the ground. That's a very common one. Like, Mother Earth is pretty good to us. You know what I mean? It's a big old thing. It ain't going anywhere. Right. So that's a great one, and just like, like I am right here. This is my space, the address, and then I'm in the city, and then I'm in the county, and I'm in this, like really grounding that identity. So all of that stuff, pretty good. Okay, then so now we're getting out, and you're in school, and you got through the 3 semesters where you almost failed because you get some hookups with some great folks that understand a little bit. You're seeing your therapist, so you kind of get your feet back underneath you and doing all that kind of stuff. So walk us through kind of graduation and then getting back into Trinidad 3. And then I guess, I'm sorry, before you do that, I guess the one thing I do want to say is, this really ties us back to MVP though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's their whole mission is, it's bringing folks together again, military veterans, to share that collegiality. And hooking them up with, professional athletes who have lost their identity in a way. And again, not making those the same, but still, a lot of people, junior high, high school, college, and then in the NFL, their whole life has been about being a football player or being whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they retire or an injury, and then they're out. And so that notion about helping people kind of come together who share this kind of re-identifying themselves, like, who am I if this other part of my life, which has been so big, is gone? So, and that's really kind of the MVP message, I think. So
right.
Kind of hitting that piece in there as well.
Yeah, no, well, with MVP, I met Nate Boyer while I was a student. So I got invited. I went to a fashion event, and I met a VP of Sony Pictures, and he invited me to a Got Your Six event at Paramount Studios. So I show up early, and it was just Nate and I out in the in front of the venue. And so we started talking just naturally. I had no idea really who he was at the time. I was just a cool guy I was chatting with. And when I went inside, I found out that he was the guest speaker. And so I was like, oh, snap. That was before MVP. Okay. So he had so MVP wasn't around yet, and he had just transitioned out of the Seahawks, and apparently was also, going through some things. So we hit it off right away. We kept in touch. In that space, there's all the guys that are in film and whatnot. I was one of the only ones there in fashion. It's not too common, I guess, in the infantry, but anyhow. So with MVP, that was my first encounter was with actually Nate Boyer. Right. And then when I graduated FITM, I have a degree in apparel industry management, which is half design, half business. I have a degree, advanced study in menswear, and then advanced study in denim. And since I was the top menswear designer when I was in denim, they said, well, we know you can do men's, obviously. Can you do women's? And so I designed, women's. I did a denim dress, did a Japanese cherry blossom that was lasered on the denim dress and embellished it with Swarovski crystals. that I got from Swarovski. So it was, they were blown away. And I'll send you, and Mr. Kittle, I'll send you a picture of that dress. You'll trip out. You would never think that somebody in the Marine Corps infantry came up with that. But again, it was part of my, right, exactly. And while I was in the denim, well, that's how I had got the inspiration to put the crystals throughout,
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. And there's something rhythmic about the sewing machine that really grounded me. And that was one of my favorite classes, was sewing. So the teacher would say, like, okay, we're doing flat felt stitch, blind stitch, everything. I jump on the machine, boom, get it done real quick. And, it was, everybody was shocked. But again, it was, for me, it was therapy. I didn't really realize at the time, but I had dreams before I joined the Marine Corps. And somewhere along life, I kind of got lost and I was in a dark spot. Fortunately, I had, good people around me to help push me in a certain direction. But it was pretty cool. And I mean, like I said, I interviewed with several companies, large companies, but, it just felt like an outcast. And so when I was still on active duty, I bought an Airstream trailer, gutted it, turned it into it was a 68 Airstream. Got an old barber chair, a 1965 Theo Cox, put it in the back, and we were doing haircuts, selling jeans over at the Rose Bowl Flea Market in Venice, up in Santa Barbara. And I always envisioned to, be in a store. So I just built my own store, and I just went straight out to the market. You want customers, and I just went out to them. And a lot of people thought it was genius. And some of my professors were like, wow, that's so out of the box. But the Marine Corps infantry thinking is very direct. So I just made it happen.
Right.
And while I was doing that, I was noticing that there were a lot of veterans coming by, and they were at different parts of their transition. And when they would see me doing a business, and they thought I was a really big company at the time, even starting off with the Airstream and everything. So they'd stop by, but there's elements in my design, and they would ask, like, hey, were you served? Are you prior service? And yeah, definitely they would pick up on the red waistband and the red I was using, those elements. And then at that point, I would be an icebreaker, and then we would just talk. And I was starting to get a lot of messages and whatnot of veterans saying that I was inspiring them to pursue their dream and pursue a career and go to school, use the GI Bill. And that's really what was driving me. Because once again, I knew that, I know I make great jeans because my mentor, and the factory owner makes jeans for Tom Ford and a lot of other luxury brands. So our quality is there. But what really excites me the most is what I'm able to do. And my most proudest moment, Mr. Kittle, was a jean that I designed for a Marine I met at an MVP event, and he's an MVP member. He saw the jeans, and he said he couldn't wear them because he lost his left leg in Afghanistan. And at the time, I had a rough year. And like I shared, I got kicked out of my warehouse. So I had to move my Airstream somewhere else. My truck got repossessed. I was in a really dark spot. And I had said, it's the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a jean for this Marine. And so I got some fabric. He came over to the factory. I borrowed a car to get to the factory. And I developed a pattern for him. And 2 days later, I borrowed the car again because the jean was done, and I delivered the jean to him. He came with his wife, and it really made an impact on his life. He had a designer jean that was functional for him. So every time he sits down, he has to undo his prosthetic. And usually he wears shorts, and it's very uncomfortable for him out in public because he exposes himself. So with this jean that I designed, he doesn't have to do that. So that Christmas, his wife sent me a message, and he himself, and just thanked me for making a difference in his life. So that to me was like why I'm doing this, and my proudest moment. And I showed that jean at Project Las Vegas, the fashion show at Magic, and it got Best Showpiece 2020. And the brands that got awards were Seven for All Mankind, Diesel, G-Star, and Trinidad 3. So not only was it fun, but it was on trend. And
Come on back.
Thank you for the meeting. And, of course, I want to do business, but if for whatever reason, we can't do business, I said, I just want you to know that I'm successful already. I was able to change the life of a Marine through my art and my passion. And so I said, I'm already successful.
Yeah. And we will, because you sent me the link, there's a little YouTube video with you guys at the show, and he kind of talks about, and he shows how he adjusted and the zipper and all that kind of stuff. So
yes.
Yeah, if you actually, do you have the actual video?
Yes, I do. I can send that to you.
Okay.
And that video. Idea. He lives in Temecula.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, he made that video himself. I had no idea that he was filming it, because I was getting interviewed when I got an award. And what really blew me away was that he drove himself from Temecula to Las Vegas. So pretty much San Diego to Vegas. And mind you, he lost his left leg and his left eye. And he shows up over there and says, "Hey, I'm here to help you." I broke down. I couldn't hold back. Amazing, right? Like, it gives me chills just talking about it. The power of what we can do with fashion, the look good, feel good. And the lady that was hosting all the talks there, at trade shows, they have, industry talks and everything. She saw him, and I was with him, and she said, "Hey, those are some really cool jeans." And I told her name's Amy Leverton from Denim Dudes. I said, "Hey, Amy, well, there's a story behind it." And I said, "He's an amputee." And she said, "Really? Which leg?" She had no idea. And I wish I had a camera recording his face. And he pulled me aside and he said, "You know what, Trinidad, this is the first time that I'm in public and I feel normal." And again, I was just like, dude, and he's thanking me, but I'm thanking him for that opportunity to be able to serve,
right.
And be able to do something with and as you know, in fashion, it can be a really self-centric at times with designers. And there's a lot of great brands and designers that are doing great things, but by the most part, the level that we're able to do and make an impact is really what keeps me going every day. And there were large companies that were, wanting to work with him, but they just couldn't develop anything and things were falling through the cracks. So, we came through for him, and now we've designed more jeans for other amputees.
Right. So onward and upward. Okay. So, well, let's
now you have a store.
I'm sorry, it cut out.
No, and now you have a store, right? In like different locations.
So now we're sold in 40 stores.
Okay.
Over 40. Well, we just picked up 3 stores this week. So 43 stores, Mr. Kittle. You're my good luck charm, sir.
I know. I'm looking for reasons to come to San Diego. I'm all in.
Yeah. And Nordstrom.com.
Okay.
So we're sold on Nordstrom.com. We've been on Nordstrom.com for over a year now, and hopefully this year can be our break where we go in store. So just throwing it out to the universe.
Then can they buy, do you have your website? Can they buy direct from you guys as well if they want to go on and order something?
Yes. The website is Trinidad3.com.
Okay. And we're going to have that. So that'll be in the notes for folks. So that's really good. All right. And then are you on Instagram and are you doing all the social media?
We follow him, Dad.
Oh,
We've already been tagging him.
Well, I don't have Instagram, so I don't know. Okay, good. All right.
Trinidad 3 jeans, sir.
All right. Yeah, good. And I'm sure it's beautiful. So she's telling me all about it. Okay. Well, then I want to get a little bit more into MVP here in a minute and talk some of that. But is there anything else about Trinidad 3 you want to make? I don't want to cut you short on that. So I know the business still is going. If people want, we'd like people to support you and to order direct and do all those kind of things. And so that would be terrific. Obviously, if they're military personnel or really other amputees out there who might need something custom built, you're open to talking to them and working with them. Is that right?
Absolutely. And actually with MVP, So again, the amputees that we've been doing jeans for are members of MVP. And right now we're putting together a program to be able to bring awareness and raise funds so I can do an actual production run and get more jeans to these amputees. And I want to gift them to them. So far I've been doing it, paying for it myself. But I want to reach more, and I know we can do a lot more. And MVP has been really, such an important piece of my trajectory. Number one, like the program manager, Los Angeles was my senior Marine. So when I did a workout there with him, it really took me back to my active duty time. So I'm there doing push-ups with the corporal, except this time he wasn't yelling at me, and which was nice. But it got me in that mindset. I had a place to go and invent anything that I was going through weekly. That's a place where I can, do the workout, connect with other veterans, the networking and athletes, and the support that they've given me and I've given them has just been above reproach. So the program, I owe a lot of my success through that because of the struggles that I've had, and even through the pandemic and working with, the opportunity to continue to serve through Sergeant's Resource Center and being able to be there and inspire more members of MVP that are having a hard time. So that part was, amazing. And then the movie MVP that'll be coming out soon. I was a costume designer there, designed jeans for the main character, was able to provide sets for them, work closely with Nate. And again, it was another dream that I always had, is to be able to do some costume design work for the movie. So, the most important thing for me, again, and my mission is to power veterans. And by powering others, it pushes me forward. And that to me is priceless. And I get that at MVP.
Okay. So, and just as we're talking about MVP, so if anybody's listening and you have a friend or whoever, either if they're a military veteran or whatever. And I guess the other thing is too, I just want to say, at the dinner, I called him my nephew, but he's not, he's one of my best friend's son, who's, right. He's just finishing he's in the Navy. He's got about a year and a half left. Shout out to my buddy, Nick France and the France family. So anyway, but
what's up, Nick?
He's a scuba diver and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it was really interesting. And I know this hasn't been a direct focus of MVP, but he was sitting there and it was, we're at the Buds Navy and I'm like, wait a minute, Nick's out in San Diego and he's in the Navy. Right. So anyway, So he was able to meet us for dinner, but then it was a great connection though, because one, I was really happy that he got to meet you because he's looking at getting out because his family is now living across country and he feels like he has to have a little more control. So this is probably the last set. But and it was really interesting. As he was talking about, thinking about the transition, you could just feel the anxiety and like change and all that. He's got some ideas, but it's a whole new world. So I think MVP is wide open to getting guys. You don't have to be out yet. You know what I mean? So if you're stationed somewhere and you're nearing it or you're involved or whatever. And so you guys are all hooked up and, you guys are going to send him a link for the next Zoom anyway, and then see if he wants to shoot up for the LA meeting and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's a great opportunity there for that kind of transitioning piece, for veterans. So maybe we get them before they get out and get all wrapped up into the anxiety. And if they had a mentor, somebody with MVP, just to help them walk through, and the paperwork is, we talked a long time that night about just all the hurdles you guys had, to get your benefits and all that kind of stuff. And, it's a very large bureaucracy, so I'm not going to slam anybody, but, it's necessarily user-friendly all the time for everybody. So anyway, so that's another thing. So if anybody's listening, and again, we talked a lot about this season about it's okay not to be okay and getting some help. And so MVP is a non-threatening, inviting, welcoming. You don't have to say any more than you want to say, but there are people there that understand, they've been through it, and they're going to walk with you. So, and I had the benefit this last week of being on my first Zoom with MVP. So the Tuesday Zoom, and it was a real honor and a privilege. Just folks were talking, and we had a couple topics come up, and just some of the struggles people were. But it was really all the exchange of phone numbers and networking, and say, hey, I know somebody here that can help with that. Just give me a call or whatever. And so you could just kind of see how much was going on with that. So anyway, it's super cool, and we're just big, want to promote it and encourage people just because it is a resource. And so don't sit there and feel like you're alone, because you're really not alone. The only reason you're going to end up being alone is if you just don't pick up the phone and make a call or shoot an email. So if anybody needs help getting hooked up with MVP, because we got, I think, New York and somewhere out east in the Florida or somewhere, I think there's one. And then we got Dallas and Chicago. And I don't know, let's see. Seattle and LA. Right?
Yeah, Phoenix is opening up pretty soon.
Yeah.
And
for folks anywhere, I mean, the Zooms are open to no matter where you are. So if you can't get to a live one, you can get on a Zoom. So you can hit us up here at Thunderbird Performance, all our stuff. And we'll have some other links in the show notes as well for that. So we just want to kind of make sure we're there. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to, but we do want to make sure that
absolutely
if anybody's out there, feeling not quite whatever, no judgment, and let's all come together and try to help each other out through this. It's been a pretty rugged last couple of years. So, okay. All right. Anything else about Trinidad 3, and then anything else you want to offer on MVP?
On MVP, like in the transition, it's so important to be part of community. When you transition, you hit that wall, the anxiety, depression, we tend to isolate. So MVP is a good way to have a new team again. And like I said, personally, I've broken down on there several times. Jay Glazer jumped on and gave me some guidance and really like lifted me up. And that's what we need. We have that while we're in service. When we get out, we kind of get lost. But now, if any, those that are listening, please like plug in. It works, hands down. So
it's funny, I was this is such a tangent, but I was such a tangent. But so Bruce and I health nuts, love studying like nutrition and how it heals us and how like aging gracefully, and you can tell he's really on it.
Or not.
But anyway, so one of the things that we've been talking a lot about over the last couple of years is these different blue zones. And it's where there's like a collection of people who live over 100 years old. And one of the main staples is community. And I think that, and it's community, and it's building these relationships, and it's having people who check on you and rely on you. You know what? One of the other ones is that the people's best memories are with their children. That's one of the things that they report talking about.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Like that's a huge thing. And I think some people are just like trying to tough it out. And it's like, no, it's also this longevity thing. And it's how we build these neural connections, like in our brain, through our hearts, through our bodies. Like we have to take care of ourselves that way. And like people die a lot younger because they're lonely, and loneliness is a terrible silent killer. And it just picks people off. And if you're not, I just posted this quote today on our Instagram. What is it? It's from The Jungle, but the strength of the pack is in the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is in the pack. Right. And it's about like coming together, and like you can have your identity, and you can be little, as much as we're together, like we're pretty independent and need our space, but we still have each other and we have community. And so it's okay to walk both sides of the line is what I'm trying to say.
It is. And Jay Glazer preaches that all the time. We know we're fucked up, but we're good with our fucked upness.
Yes.
And in community, where, it makes us stronger. And so if we start changing the narrative, and with the service members that are still in, let them know that there's a team when the uniform comes off that they can join, that understands them and will help them. The peer-to-peer, Mr. Kittle, you saw it in action. I've experienced it. There's a lot of other members that are pursuing careers and dreams as well. And we all like come together. If anyone's down, we're there for each other. And, so it's definitely plug into emerging vets and players. It will make a difference.
Trent, as you say that, it's like, of all the places, because I've worked a lot of different places with different jobs, from lawyer and all the other stuff I've done. But, the one thing about it is like, I have a fairly unique personality at times. At least my family tells me that. But anyway, I think that's one of the other.
I'm literally half you.
I know.
Like I'm half you.
That's
your blood runs in my veins.
But what you said about the military community in that way is that there's kind of boundaries here, but you got a lot of latitude, and you can be kind of fucked up. But then you're with other folks who are kind of in the same stream. And working in football is kind of the same way. It's like it's its own little animal. And there's a lot of breadth, as long as, you're not getting in the media and all that kind of stuff, but they kind of tolerate, being out there, a little bit of different personality and all that kind of stuff. So obviously a lot different than working at a law firm, rules and all that kind of stuff. And so there is that. And then when you get out, it's like not only is the uniform off, but it's and the relationships, but it's like the social expectations about your behavior and how you have to act and what you got to say and do all that kind of stuff. And it just like at times
people just don't get it.
It can be really suffocating, like all of the expectations and or the anxiety caused by the uncertainty. It's like, okay, I'm not quite, do I do this or don't, you know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're hitting it pretty good. I think encouraging folks to get connected. There's a lot of resources, and if MVP not quite your thing, there's all kinds of, there's some other military places as well. So, but
yes,
we think MVP's got a really great shot for it. So
yeah, they have a great program.
Yep. Then for the donation this week, we're splitting it between MVP and then Sarge's, whatever that is. So I know you talked a little bit about it, but just give both that, and you're going to send us the link, and then we'll make sure the link in there is if anybody's interested in just learning more and or donating. Obviously, everybody can use a little support right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it's Sarge's Resource Center, and it was.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Together.
I'm wondering if it's your the head things.
I wonder.
How about now?
I mean, I can hear them, but I'm wondering if they're like losing a charge. If that's why they're like.
Can't hear it.
Should we scoot up a little bit?
No, it's not that. I think the
like
batteries.
Take them out.
Yeah, go ahead and take them out.
Yeah, let's try it without them and just see. That's a good idea. Yeah.
How about now? How about now?
You're frozen.
Hello, mic check. Mic check.
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay, let me see.
There
Am I
you go.
back? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Sarge's Resource Center.
Okay.
So Sarge's Resource Center was actually born there in the MVP, led by Robert Sarge Perez, our Army veteran. And during the pandemic, we got together and we found purpose in serving others. So it's an extension of MVP, and we help veterans get their paperwork for the VA claims going. We also do a lot of, we donated furniture, clothes, working boots, a lot of little things that's needed on an individual basis. So a lot of great work that Sarge has been doing, and we've been working together. Chip Kelly's been a supporter of Sarge's Resource Center from its inception. So those are the two that I am really connected with, and part of how we power veterans is by participating, educating, and donating, and that can be time. It doesn't have to be money every time. So those are the
talent.
Right. Just give what you can. So now listen, I know now you're the executive director on the board of directors. So now if we give money to you guys, you're not having some plush big party for the executive directors now, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. No. But if we do, you're invited, Mr. Kittle.
You let me know. Not too far. I can get out there pretty quick. So I am planning to come back. I think we're going to be
once we start selling some more jeans, and we'll have those big old plush parties, and we launch our women's line and become successful. Absolutely, Mr. Kittle, we're going to do some great things.
All right. Do you still have the Airstream?
Yes, I still have the Airstream. Yep. It's down in Temecula at the moment. Yep. I let Save the Brave utilize it as a green room for their comedy events every month.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, okay. All right. Let's see then. I think we're pretty good. We covered MVP. We got Sarge's done. And then you want to wrap us up?
Wild Trinidad. As we wrap, the way we like to wrap is always glass half full. And I think your story is so hopeful in itself. But where you are now, we always like to end with, where is the hope for you?
The hope for me is that I can continue to make a difference in veterans' lives through my passion, which is fashion.
Okay.
Where's the hope for you?
Well, you know what? I've had a whole bunch of it. I had this last week. I spent most of it in San Diego. It was beautiful. And the last couple of days I was there, the surf was way up and all the surfers were out there, and there's like these massive waves and all that. And it just really, the ocean for me is really grounding and all that. So I was really grateful to have that time. And really, our time together, Trinidad, was really great because I got to hear more of your stories. We're driving around, and then, but being, like going to the Buds Navy, the SEAL training ground, and working the machine gun and the M4 and all that kind of stuff. It's like I'd mentioned this before, but I was raised in kind of an anti-war home. My mom was, into the Vietnam War. She was not wanting me to, get drafted, and I made it kind of out of there within a 2-year span and all that. But it's just a very different, she was anti-guns, violence, all that kind of stuff. So this year's been really valuable for me. And I feel like it's been so great to hear the stories, the human stories, behind our military veterans and their dreams and their sacrifices and their challenges and the things that they're overcoming. And some of it's been really heart-wrenching because of the difficulty that they faced and all that. But I guess I'm hopeful because I feel like at least I'm hopeful that, our show, having the opportunity to share those stories and to promote MVP and if anything that we do, if one veteran hears us and didn't know about MVP and makes a phone call instead of something else, then, everything's been worth it. And, I guess that's my real hope, is that as we continue to focus kind of on mental health and, obviously some suicide prevention pieces as well, that's pretty hopeful. But then the last thing I want to say that I'm super hopeful about, you and I talked about this and we've been beating it around. Ed Hall, one of our MVP guests, Ed used to do this video thing called Friendship Friday. And I don't know if it's the same thing, but you and I talked about, we don't want to send the message out that every time you think about the military and people coming out, that it's about suicide. I mean, we want to create awareness, we want to provide resources, and we want to support people, in whatever areas they are. But the other reality is there's a lot of veterans out who make that transition and are doing unbelievable things. So folks out there, the Thunderbird Performance and Hidden Pearl podcast community, we're going to start taking nominations for, veterans who are doing stuff out there. So if you know a veteran in your community who's out there, whether it's a business or serving others or doing something that you think we should know about, we're going to try to do that. And then between our shows, now we'll keep still, we're going to stay weekly throughout the playoffs, and hopefully that's a long run. But when it's not, then we'll be doing at least one show a month, to stay on it. And we'll be reviewing some of these. So if you want to email us with a name and contact and tell us their story and why you think, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to call it, but anyway, but we want to tell some success stories of veterans out there and all the great things that they're doing and how they're helping the community and each other. And so we would invite you to share those things with us. That would be terrific. And then we might have to, you might help us screen them, Trinidad. Okay.
Make sure they're dressed.
Absolutely.
Right. Anyway, so that's my hope. We're getting the message out. More people get hooked up with MVP. More people ask for help. And then also, I'm really hopeful that we can tell and share some of these amazing stories of the men and women who are out there now as civilians who are taking their military experiences, have integrated it, and are now really making a difference in their community, being leaders in all kinds of different ways. So that's my other hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can catch them early, like Nick, and make sure we change the narrative. So that way, it's just not saying that there's suicide and there's a dark, everything is dark when you get out.
Right.
There is hope. So if we can get them early, they don't have to go through that as to those extremes. Right. So, well, thank you. I'm really grateful, Mr. Kittle, that I got to spend some time with you and meet your family and see the light of the Kittle family. I felt the love right from the very beginning. And I appreciate the opportunity. Mr. Kittle, I've had that conversation with my son. So thank you for the advice. I canceled the pitching coach and I'll be taking him. I'll be playing catch with him. And again, he was so excited about that. So thank you, Mr. Kittle. You've already made a positive impact in my life. And hopefully this is just the beginning. And yes, I agree. Hopefully it's a long, postseason. We go all the way to the end and go Niners.
Go Niners. Now, we skipped over a little Emmy, though. So we got one more hopeful message here. So let's see what we got.
I was actually going to say a lot of what you were saying, Dad, just about being, as we went into the season, we didn't really know what was going to happen when we partnered with MVP. And it's been awesome.
What happened?
It's been so much. It has been so amazing every single time. And I guess the other thing, I think I actually said this last week, but I think just hearing your story, it's just the human spirit and the resiliency to chase a dream, I think is so inspiring. And how, you know, like I was just talking to my therapist about this week, and it's like having your goal. And even though we say, like, you know, if you're making a map and you're following this map and you know where you're going, like there's going to be detours and it swerves and it dips and it loops around. And a lot of times we lose faith in that dream and we lose sight in it, and we feel like we're not good enough, or it's not going to come true, or that we're not worthy of it, or all these things, or it's just like, why are we going over here? And then all of a sudden, because we believe, because we stay the course, everything just kind of like aligns. And I think hearing your story and all the things that you have gone through, and even I mean, I love the story that you were the oldest person, you were the oldest recruit, and that you were going through this, because I'm now 31 and I feel like I'm literally just getting my legs underneath me and like really having a vision for this path that like has really been very scattered and like really hard sometimes. And now it's all coming together. And so it's really inspiring. And I'm glad that you were on the show. I'm glad that you, and we call him Baja Bruce, Beach Bruce. It's just the whole vibe, y'all. It's the whole vibe. So I'm glad you got to experience and share that. And I cannot wait to try out your women's line.
Yes.
So yeah. So thank you so much. And anything that we can do to help, support, promote, we are all here. So,
So you're going to send us links for Sarge's resources, right? So
yes, we'll do
that. And then anything else.
And then email us that video too.
The video too from the show. Okay. So
and if there's anything I can do for any of you, Emma, that's awesome to hear that, you know, I was able to inspire you. That was a crucial year for me, 31. Don't recommend joining the Marine Corps if you can find.
I'm not feeling that. I'm not
that part.
I'm not feeling it. But who knows?
I can get you down, you know, we'll go down to the trainer. We'll get you, you know, a feel for it. That way you won't be, you know, like a week into boot camp and be like, man, I wasn't lacking discipline. I got 4 more years now.
Hey, the M4 though, my clusters were pretty good though, right?
You had a great shot group. I was pleasantly surprised, Mr. Kittle. Honestly, like we would have told you. Yeah, if it would have been bad, we probably would have asked you to do some push-ups or cut it short. But no, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Hands down. He's a good shot.
Yeah. Well, they were all together. They were for whatever reason, I was just down to the right, just off the center, but I was in the black all the time for the most part. So that was really fun. So and then, hey, will you send me Dave's contact stuff?
Yes, sir. Will do.
Send him back a note. So, all right, Trinidad, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it. Best with everything with Trinidad 3. And T-shirt was great. I got a sweatshirt. It's kind of a light sweatshirt. I don't know if it's more like a sweater, really. It's so soft. It feels more like a sweater. And then he gave me a couple T-shirts. So I got one for George. I'm going to give that to him.
A photo shoot?
But I wore it on the plane the other day.
Absolutely.
So it was great. So every man needs one in his wardrobe. At least one. So
at least one.
At least get double. So, all right. But anyway, I'm going to give it to George this weekend. So I'll get it to him and he can try it out and sport it for you as well. So, all right. Awesome. Well, take care.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Tell the family hello, and glad everything's going good with baseball. So that's terrific. Enjoy the moments.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being on our show. Go Niners! Kill the Cowboys! Anyway, we were talking about with me and George how Grandma Phyllis hated the Cowboys.
Hated.
And she wasn't vengeful. Well, she was a little vengeful.
There's 2 teams she hated. I won't name the other one because it's a college team and I don't want to get everybody all riled up. But definitely the Dallas Cowboys. She could not stand them because when they came on and said America's team, she's like, they ain't my team and I'm an American too, you know? So she was all over it. But anyway, go ahead. I digress.
If you want to reach out, it's info@thunderbirdperformance.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as Hidden Pearls Podcast. And we are on Twitter at Hidden Pearls Pod. If you guys ever want to reach out or connect with us, you can hit us up on Instagram, or email is probably the best way to get a hold of us. Honestly, email is the best way. I know you guys I try to keep up with the DMs, but I don't do it all the time, and I'm trying to.
And I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Bruce isn't on Instagram. But yeah, so just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our show. We're very excited about this, very thankful for MVP and all the connections that we're making. And yeah, man, go Niners.
All right, let's get it done. All right, guys, thanks so much. We're excited. Hope there's another game, so we got another show in, but we'll do a wrap up anyway, no matter what. And we're looking forward to that. So take care, be safe, encouragement to be mindful,
big prayers,
and be kind. God